Greetings and welcome to In-Depth. I'm Dike Rostant. We have news for you because Bishop Anstey High School Choir is hosting Ting. So we're getting directly into the conversation with music teacher, choir conductor Adafih Padmore. And laughing, looking at the tools of the trade in the background, if nothing else, you're honest. So we get that out of the way one time because sometimes people watching, what is that? All the dotishness. But
listen.
One of the last things that we would have spoken about is the need to continue raising hope, raising talent, and raising funds. And I think all of this applies for this instance, for this conversation. So what is happening on the 30th?
On the 30th, we're having a concert of local music at Bishop Anstey High School. This term I decided, we started with performing for Music Festival doing Black Woman, and the girls always enjoy when we do calypso or folk music. So I said, you know what, let's do a concert of only local pieces. Some of it is composed pieces, so I have composer, arranger, and all-around genius as far as I'm concerned, Michael Hudlin, who came in and worked with the girls as a guest conductor with them. And we have calypso, soca, folk, and a spoken word by one of our students as well. So we're going to be having guest performances. Voirish from the south side will be coming and doing a guest performance for us. We're going to have Marvin Newton. We're going to have Michael Salcido. We're going to have the Diego Martin Central Secondary Dance Group also joining us. So we have a good few different varieties of performances. We're not just doing like vocal music only. We'll be having dance and instrumentalists as well. So we're very excited. The girls have been working hard. This week is exam week, and I have them in rehearsal every afternoon, stressed out, trying to make sure that we are ready for this Sunday's performance.
And there are a few things you said there, and I'm going to try to pick them apart one by one and then ask you to extrapolate or expatiate on them, whichever. But how important was the significance to you of having the girls interact with somebody who has gone to school dealing with music and has come back and is arranging, is conducting, and doing all these things in the form of Michael Hudlin?
It was important for me to have them see that it's possible, right? I think music tends to be just considered as a side thing or something that you do for fun. And I wanted them to see that if this is something that you are really passionate about, that you should fight for your dreams, and that it is possible to be a composer, arranger, musical director. It is possible to be that here in Trinidad and Tobago, that you don't only have to jump on a plane and go away and stay away forever. You can come back and give back to your own country doing the things that you love.
Also happy to know that as a South man. Because South is love. But and even like looking at being able to find such range and such depth in the music that is emanating from Trinidad and Tobago. Because even like, and one of the things I love about Mama Ella is the instrumentation that she would use. So sometimes instead of just like straight a keyboard tune, you're hearing, was that marimba?
Yes.
Xylophone kind of thing.
Xylophone, marimba.
The balafon is what I'm looking for.
Okay, yes, okay.
but even being able to say, okay, well, this is from Trinidad and Tobago, but it doesn't have to sound like X or it doesn't have to sound like Y. I'm able to actually play with it and find my sound while going through. And you said something that I wanted to speak about as well in terms of exposing and encouraging people to fight for their dreams, because sometimes we don't allow ourselves to dream because we don't see the possibility.
Yeah, that's very true. I found even in just chatting with some of our students that some of them just believe that, once they're finished with school, they go abroad to university and that's it. They'll go and they'll stay, and I'm trying to encourage the girls to see, giving back to your own nation as something that's very crucial, not just to your own personal sense of identity, but also to our country as a whole. That's how we can develop and grow and become better, is if our own are able to pour themselves into it.
Speaking of
Yeah.
our own, is not just the choir doing things. So who are some of the other? Because I think I see in the dance
Uh,
club, and then you have Bars of
yes.
Steel as well. So what are some of those things we're looking forward to?
Well, anybody that knows Bishop Anstey High School knows that we are a club school just as much as we are an academic school. We love to give our girls opportunities to explore outside of their academics. So we have a vibrant performing arts extracurricular department. We have the choir, we have the steel side, which a lot of people would know about from Junior Panorama. We have our contemporary dance club, which for this concert will be joining with our hip hop dance club to do an African dance in the concert. Um, yeah, we even I have a choir student that's very interested in spoken word. She did something for the Best Village competition, and I told her, I said, I love the piece. It's in line with what we're doing, and I want her to be involved in it. So she's going to be doing her spoken word as well.
Oh, and are there people from outside as well in terms of other schools?
Well, I taught at Digger Martin Central Secondary for a short while, and I still have a very great relationship with the dance teacher there, who, in my opinion, is an excellent choreographer. So I've asked her to bring her dance group on board to do a piece for us in the show as well. So we will be having the Digger Martin Central Secondary Dance Club.
And I like the fact that there's so many things and that are going on at the same time. I want to talk a little bit about the importance of being able to chart your own course with regard to having that sense of responsibility. I have exams, I have choir, I'm going to make it work, and the impact that has in later life. Because sometimes I think people feel that people just born organized. Or I think sometimes people say, okay, well, we reach 18 and we organize now. So speak to those incremental steps that going through this process is helping your students with that.
Well, when it comes to Miss Padmore, you have to get it together. I really encourage them to stay focused in their academics. Like, I mean, the exam period here at school has just begun, and there were girls in here studying before, just a little while ago, right? Because their exams are important, their academics are important, but also their other pursuits. So they have to find a way to manage their time effectively. Sometimes I'll even sit down with girls and make study timetables with them to assist them in this process of getting their lives together. But it's important to be able to juggle all the things. As adults, we have to do it. We have to juggle home life and work life and your social life. And the girls have to learn throughout their school life that this is important for them to develop and to be able to do well in that space. So yeah, it's definitely very important to be able to do the juggling part of things. I've had girls tell me, Miss, my parents are saying I can't do it. I can't do all of it, and I have to drop out. And I really try my best to discourage that, because I do think that, if they don't start preparing for it now, it's going to be even more difficult later on. But the parents are the most important stakeholders. So I try, and if they insist, well, I let them be, and hope that in the new term I'll see them again.
And you smile so prettily with it, huh? But the thing is, this, and my thing is that this is a muscle that you build. It's not something that you
Yeah,
snap your fingers and it happens. And looking and see where mistakes
exactly.
were made. And even and if I remember correctly, choir practice is on a Friday, right?
On Friday, the
So what
lime
is
day.
but by chance are the Bishop have Saturday exams?
Well, no, we don't.
Okay.
But
So on that note, don't say anymore. Just let that breathe for a second. And then we come back after this. We are speaking with music teacher, choir conductor Adafih Padmore, looking at Weeting Bishop Anstey High School Choir. It's on the 30th of June. We come back after this. Stay with us. we are having a conversation with Adafih Padmore, Ms. Padmore, who helps the girls get their lives together, music teacher, choir conductor, and we are looking at an event that is taking place on the 30th of June called Ting. And remind me, is it instruments? Is it uniforms or outfits? Is it all of the above? What proceeds going to, Miss?
Well, this time around, we're focused on getting the girls some formal uniforms for the choir. We sometimes get asked to perform at president's residence, for ministry events. And although we do have a very beautiful uniform that we do love, but I think sometimes, we may want it to be a little bit more formal in our presentation. So we're working towards getting those, and we would also like to help the wider school community. I've probably said this too many times, but really and truly, the pandemic is still affecting schools financially. During that time, it's not just about not schools like ours that have to support ourselves partly. It's not just about the fact that for 2 or 3 years we weren't doing fundraising. It's also the fact that the school was just sitting there for 2 and 3 years, and there are infrastructural things that need improvement. And if the school has those responsibilities, they can't necessarily assist us in the things that we want to do all the time. So we're trying to not only help ourselves, but to help the school as well.
And we totally get that if you don't use it, you lose it. So sometimes just sitting
Yeah.
there, atrophy is a thing that takes place. And
Yeah.
but one of the things that's going to be used is the Jubilee Hall. So give me
Yeah.
an idea of time and stuff too, no?
So it's this Sunday at 5 p.m. In the Jubilee Hall. And well, I'm hoping that I've planned the show to go an hour and a half. Fingers crossed, but things happen. But my hope is that we will finish by 6:30 and everybody could be out of Port of Spain on their Sunday afternoon to enjoy the rest of the evening on their own. So that's the plan.
And speaking about time, what kind of time or investment is it that you put in? Because I know sometimes both of my parents taught and taught at secondary school level. And I remember people asking me, so Dike, what you want to be? There's when people could still reach a pattern on my head. And I was like, I don't know, but I know I don't want to teach. Because I saw the effort being put in. And this is even like them teaching, giving lessons at home. So if you need, all you're paying is attention. So that level of investment. How are you?
Yeah.
You're good?
No, I'm not good enough. I love them. I love my students. I love what I do. So I pour myself into them. But it is a lot, right? So I get here, and the minute I arrive, I engage with students until the minute I leave, and I often leave long after the school day has ended because several different rehearsals have to happen if we have a small group event or performance. We usually have school events as well. We have, masses and services and that kind of thing that the choir is required to sing for. So I am going a lot, but it's also fulfilling work because I get to see my students develop and grow in confidence, in ability, generally as young people. I have a girl who, when I was in sixth form here as a student, was born because her mom taught me at school here. Now her mom and I are colleagues, and she's about to graduate. So seeing the development and seeing the growth is very, very, very fulfilling. And it's a blessing.
And I smile because there's some people I still kind of consider myself, well, not kind of, outside of the camera, I consider myself Mr. Simon's son. Because there's so many people who would have passed through his hands. And so when I hear Mr. Roster, that's still my father
Yeah.
that people talking about. People and people coming up to me and say, you know this fella, and call his name and be like, yeah, because he would have taught them, he would have taught their children, and sometimes there's a whole progression. So people still coming up to him and calling him sir after he's finished however
Yeah.
many years.
Yes, I get that as well. My students who have passed on will always see me somewhere. Hey, and I even still have students who I'm very close with still, who consider me like their second parents. When they see me, they'll call me mom in public, even though I don't have children of my own. I'll just be in town somewhere and I'll hear mom. turn around and realize it's a past student of mine, who I would be seeing and that kind of thing. So it's really fulfilling work. It's fantastic. I mean, it would be great to be able to do more without having to do fundraising. But even the fundraising is part of the work, right? So we're putting on a concert, they're getting to see what it takes to organize an event and to put it on successfully. They're getting to see the type of work that you have to put in to make a product of quality. So even that is a part of the work that we do as teachers in terms of not just teaching your subject area, because music in itself is extensive and it is a lot of work, but they're also learning things outside of the scope of just music as a subject area, and that's priceless.
I think it's really, really, really important and priceless to your point. And you saying this, and in my mind is almost as though I'm hearing a cowbell and Pat Bishop in the background bawling, do the
Oh
work,
gosh!
do the work, because we won't get
Yes,
to do it, right? And
yes,
even
yes,
like
yes.
looking at these hidden curricula, because sometimes people think the thing is just the thing and only the thing, and there's nothing else before or after, and so much work goes on. Because even like if you're talking about those in school events, it's not as though okay, well, people remember, especially if you have turnover, because as on and understandably so, because you have a progression of students who are going
Graduating.
through. So it's not as
Yes.
though, okay, well, this person here, they help put down the Navel String Berry and they remember the songs that do 7 years ago because it's a new student,
Yeah,
new instrumentalist.
yeah. And that has been my challenge this term. I have like almost half the choir are new members, and we're doing some pieces that we would have done before, bringing them back again, refreshing them. And they've had a term to try to learn what girls had a year to learn, so it is challenging in that way. But I also have students who would have graduated that come back to rehearsals. I have one student in particular, Nyamka, who comes every single Friday without fail. And sometimes, even if I have rehearsals during the week, she's messaging me, Miss, I'm sorry, I can't come on Wednesday. I'll be in a class or something like that. And I'm like, girl, it's okay. You're not a student anymore, but we're glad to have you.
And with that in mind, do you see progression of individuals like somebody who would have started off and yes, I mean, yes, you spoke about people kind of blossoming, but someone has gone, so a lead singer has gone, and you see somebody else coming forward because they know the words, they know the road, they know the blocking, and even like seeing that progression in individuals.
Well, it's funny because they see this. Let's say there's a soloist that has a certain part in a song to sing. They see that as that person's song. Like they identify this solo with, if it's Jatoy, that's Jatoy's solo. So that when that person has gone on, it's like this big moment of, oh my gosh, I'm getting to sing Jatoy's solo. They really look up to each other as well, because I have student leadership as a part of the choir as well. So I have section leaders and I have a captain and a deputy who help me in the process of making sure that everything that needs to happen happens in the choir. And I find that that is also important, not only just for passing on the culture of choir, but also for giving girls an opportunity to understand what it is like to be a leader and to understand all of the things that it takes to do that. So, they look up to the older ones, the younger ones as they come in, they look up to them, and they really start to emulate that same spirit that the older girls have, and I love to see that happen too.
I think that's really important. But reminding in closing, Ting is a celebration of
Waiting.
Bishop Hansen High School Choir, and I'm encouraging people to walk with your belly in your hand and money to
Yes.
pay for
Mm-hmm.
and drinks, because it's going for it's going towards a very good cause and helping the development of individuals in our society. Because if we say that okay, there's a gap, there's a problem, there's an issue, and we see that someone is putting in the work to help fill that gap, to help address issues, why not support it? It feels simple though. Huh? But I want to thank you so much, Ms. Padmore, Adafih Padmore, for doing the work and for helping us know about some of the work that is being done. And on behalf of the entire TTT News team, this has been In Depth with me, Dike Rostant. Thank you so much for joining us.